Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charleston, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a pretty interesting show for you guys. We want you guys to stick around for it, so please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, as y'all know, about, let's say, a week or so ago, Stephen A. Smith made a lot of news because of an image that resurfaced, a 65-year-old image, if I'm not mistaken, that was taken of Jerry Jones, where he was basically trying to stop, desegregation of schools, I believe in Arkansas in 1957, if I'm not mistaken. And there was a photograph of him in the back kind of watching, what was transpiring. And that information was brought to the attention of Stephen A. Smith and others on ESPN First Take. And when Stephen A. Smith was asked to give his opinion on it, he absolutely surprised a lot of people with the direction he decided to go in when he was responding to what he saw in that image. So what we want to do is want to play a little bit of what he had to say here quickly, just as a quick refresher, and then we'll come back and react to what he said and what's really at the heart of this show here today. So take a listen to that.
I'm pretty pissed off. And let me say this. I'm pissed off, but not for reasons that people would think. I'm very, very fond of Jerry Jones. And I'm not hiding that from anybody. Is his record perfect? No. But I'm pissed off because he doesn't deserve what just happened. He doesn't deserve it. Our report said he was 14 years old. Yeah. Another report said he was 15 years old. At minimum, that's 65 years ago. You're going to bring up a picture of Jerry Jones standing at this protest. No question, what was happening is not something that anybody as a black person should be appreciative about. We had 6 students at that particular North Little Rock High School that was trying to desegregate the school.
No one should be okay with it.
Nobody should be okay with that.
Regardless of
race.
We
understand that. We get all of that. We also understand what we as black people and as black folks, black men have to deal with. And by the way, to some degree, we still deal with a lot of things, and we all know it. Mm-hmm. Racism is alive and well. Bigotry and prejudice is alive and well. We get all of that. What I'm saying is, here's the part that bothers me. You want to get on Jerry Jones and his track record, fine. In 2003 or so, you know what? You should have hired, Dennis Green shouldn't have got an interview on the phone. It should have been an in-person interview. Right. You should have followed the letter of the rule of the law as it pertained to the Rudy rule. He wanted Bill Parcells, universally recognized one of the greatest football coaches we've ever seen. It was clear he wanted Bill Parcells. Nobody else was going to have a chance of getting that job. That's what he wants to do. You want to malign him for that? Fine. You want to point out that he's one of 7 black NFL owners that's never hired an African-American as a head coach? Fine. Do all of that. Attack him for that. Go ahead. Yeah. No problem. I see a plethora of African-Americans employed by him. I see black players who played for him who rave about this man and what he's done for them on a personal level. But if you want to go by his hiring record when it comes to head coaches, no problem. Can't go the executive route because we know it's him. You know what I'm saying? He want to be the president, the GM, the owner. He want to do everything. And then he's got his children that he leans on as well. So you can't go the executive route. But you want to get on him about the head coaches, fine. But you're going to bring up a photo of him when he was 14, 15 years old. 65 or 66 years ago. This is where cancer culture gets into the mix, and you're making an attempt to eradicate him, what he stands for, and all he has done.
So you heard what he had to say there. Now, subsequently after that, various voices, criticized Stephen A. Smith, and one of them in particular was Umar Johnson, and he recently did an interview on the Breakfast Club when he went on there. I think that interview now has about 2 million views already. He did it about a week or so ago. And he went on there and he talked about a range of things. But one of the people he spoke specifically about was Stephen A. Smith himself, and how he expressed his absolute disappointment in Stephen A. Smith in terms of what he had to say in response to what Jerry Jones had to say. Well, apparently, Stephen A. Smith heard the comments that, that Umar Johnson made. And yesterday on his show, he decided to respond back. As you know, he has his own personal podcast. It's called No Mercy Podcast. So he responded in 2 ways. First, he responded in a tweet, And the tweet said, I don't know any human being alive I would wish 50,000 lashes on. Respectfully, how low can you go? So what we want to do is we want to play exactly what Stephen A. Smith had to say in response to, Dr. Umar Johnson, and then we'll come back and react to it. So take a listen to what he had to say there.
All I have to say to Dr. Umar Johnson is this. I don't know any human being alive I would wish 50,000 lashes on. Respectfully, how low can you go? Never met you, don't know you. Educated brother, I wish you nothing but the best. But you would wish that upon another human being? A brother? Really? That's how low you would go?
I don't think that Umar meant to give him physically 50,000. Obviously, that's humanly impossible. So when Stephen A. Smith said, I wouldn't wish 50,000 lashes on my enemy or whatever it is, obviously, I don't want to believe that Stephen A. Smith believed that he meant it in the literal sense. I don't want to believe. What is that? I don't want to believe that, right? But I believe that specific expression was basically meant to represent a particular sentiment that Umar Johnson has towards Stephen A. Smith. Now, Stephen A. Smith has made his position crystal clear on that Jerry Jones matter, although he kind of began to modify his position the moment LeBron asked the reporter, hey, wait a minute, why haven't you guys asked me anything about this, the photograph? And then all of a sudden he started singing a different tune. What is it on live, on live TV? But you make a good point, blah, 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 blah. I just thought that Stephen A. Smith was doing his normal triangulating. That's why he wants to get into politics. That's what they do in politics. All you do is triangulate into the position that you believe that into the position that you believe the wind is blowing in. Whatever direction the wind is blowing, and that's usually what you want to say, because you always want to remain on the good side and in the good graces of everyone, right? So in terms of him, what he had to say, I don't really think he said anything, right? I think Umar Johnson just expressed the viewpoint that a lot of people feel about Stephen A. Smith. A lot of people share that, now, not specifically what Umar Johnson said there in terms of lashes, but they just have this feeling about him. I think Stephen A. Smith is fully aware of this, right? He's fully aware of this. I don't think this is something that's unbeknownst to him. You even saw when Terrell Owens was on there, when Max Kellerman was on there, and he basically told him to his face, listen, Max Kellerman is acting more black than you. And then Stephen A. Smith took major offense to Terrell Owens saying that, but it's not something new. I don't think Stephen A. Smith is shocked by what Umar Johnson had to say. I think, based on some of the things that he said and some of his behavior in the past, I think that, people have this certain view of him, and I just think that that's the reality of it. And the latest comments and the position that he decided to take, his immediate position, which I called his default position, informs the sentiment that a lot of these people have about him, right? Y'all already know my position on Stephen A. Smith. I don't think he respects anybody. I think the only people he respects is people that he believes can affect his bottom line. Beyond that, he respects no one. This is just my personal view. I could be wrong, just my personal view from afar. So what I want to know from you is simply this. What do you think about the response that Stephen A. Smith had to give to Umar Johnson? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and we catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.